The girl in chains. The cell was cold and dark. Metal walls. No windows. Only a small light flickered from the ceiling like a dying star. In the middle of the room, a girl sat on the floor, her hands chained above her head. Her name was Alara. She had been here for 9 days. No food on some, water on few. Pain was her only companion now. But still, she didn't break. Not yet. Outside her cell, heavy footsteps echoed. The guards were coming again. Tall, armored creatures. Part machine, part monster. They were called the Drax, and their leader, Lord Kraxar, ruled 10 systems with fear. Alara had once stood against him. Now she was his prisoner. The cell door opened. 2 Drax stepped in, their red eyes glowing. Behind them came Lord Kraxar himself, his voice like metal grinding on stone. "You are quiet today, Alara," he said. "Is the fire gone from your heart?" Alara lifted her head slowly, blood on her face, but her eyes burned. "You still talk too much," she whispered. Kraxar smiled. A cruel smile. "You will die tomorrow," he said. "Publicly. Your death will break the last spark of hope your people carry." He turned and left. The door closed. Darkness again. Alara dropped her head. Her heart beat slow, heavy. She remembered the world before this war. Green fields. Blue skies. Her brother's laughter. And she remembered him. Captain Riker. Riker was her friend. Her partner in the resistance. Once they had fought side by side. Once she had trusted him with her life. But then, on that mission, he left her. She thought she would never see him again. Maybe he was dead. Maybe he ran. She didn't know. She just knew one thing now. No one was coming. Light years away, in a small old ship drifting through empty space, a man sat alone in silence. Captain Riker. He hadn't slept in days. His beard was rough, eyes tired. A scar ran down his right cheek, a gift from the last mission. He thought he had lost everything. Friends. Hope. Alara. But then, the message came. Code red. Alara. Alive. The signal was weak, broken, but real. Riker sat back in his chair. He stared at the message. "She's alive," he whispered. He opened a drawer, pulled out a silver chain with a small metal cube. "It was her gift years ago. I won't fail you again," he said. He looked at the map. The signal came from Drax Prime, the enemy's main planet. He punched in the coordinates. Engines hummed. His ship shook and jumped to light speed. He was going back. In the prison, Alara breathed slowly. She used her fingers to feel the edge of the chain, old rusted. Maybe a tiny crack, a weak point. She smiled, just a little. A sound outside. Not the usual guard walk. Different. Fast. She listened. A voice over the speaker. "Security alert. Unknown ship detected in orbit. Class, human. Lone. Pilot." Her eyes widened. Her heart skipped. "No. It can't be." The speaker crackled again. Pilot identified. Riker. A tear ran down her cheek. Not from pain. From hope. In orbit, Riker's ship dodged lasers, flew through clouds of fire. Alarms screamed. "Warning! Hull damage!" He didn't stop. "I'm coming, Alara," he said. He sent a fake signal to trick the Drax. Made them think he was crashing. Then he dove into a hidden cave system on the planet's dark side. He landed rough, but alive. "Step 1, he said. "Now let's find her." Deep in the fortress, Kraxar watched the monitors. He saw Riker's ship, saw it vanish from radar. He frowned. "Find him," he told his guards. "Alive or dead. Doesn't matter. Just stop him." Then he looked at Alara's cell on the screen. "You always bring trouble," he said. Alara leaned back against the wall. Her eyes closed. She didn't know if she would live. She didn't know if Riker could save her. But for the first time in many days, she believed again. And in the shadows, something darker moved. Not Drax, not human. Something else. Watching, waiting. The human ghost. The desert winds of Drax Prime howled across the lifeless red rocks. A thin mist crawled over the ground like silent snakes. Above, the alien sky burned orange with two suns hanging like watching eyes. In the distance, dust rose. Something moved fast between the cliffs. Silent, dark. It was not a Drax patrol. Captain Riker stood under a rock arch, his coat torn by the wind. Behind him, his small ship lay hidden in a cave, half broken from the crash landing. He checked. His gear, half battery in his blaster, one thermal knife, a weak signal scanner, and a half-burned photo. Alara's photo. He tucked it away and stared at the horizon. His eyes were colder now. He had changed. They called him dead. They called him a ghost. Now he was one. But ghosts can still fight. Inside the fortress, Lord Kraxar studied a black crystal screen. Riker's face appeared in flickering red light. An old file. Old scars. This, one should have died, Kraxar hissed. Next to him, a figure stepped from the shadows, tall, wearing an old human captain's coat. The face was hidden under a mask. Maybe he did, the masked one said. But something came back. Kraxar turned to him. You served with him once. Yes. Long ago. He was better than most. Brave. Smart. Dangerous. Then stop him. The masked one nodded. As you command. Riker moved through a narrow tunnel in the rocks. He used a hacked scanner to trace the fortress layout. His plan was simple. Find the cell block, get Alara, escape before the place explodes. Simple never means easy. The rocks above shifted. Riker pulled his gun fast. Something dropped from the ceiling. A shape. Humanoid. Fast. Silent. He fired. The shape dodged and vanished into the shadows. Then a voice echoed, deep and mocking. You still shoot first, just like old times. Riker froze. His finger trembled. Jex? From the shadows, the masked figure stepped out. Commander Jex. Once Riker's second in command, now a traitor. You're supposed to be dead, Riker said. You left me behind, Jex replied. You saved your people. Left mine to burn. Riker aimed his gun again. Step aside. Jex shook his head. You don't know the full truth, Riker. Alara, she's not who you think. What do you mean? She's not just a prisoner, she's a key, a weapon, a danger. Riker narrowed his eyes. I don't care what she is. I'm getting her out. Then you're too late. Jex threw a blade. Riker dodged, but barely. They clashed. Knife against metal fist. Memory against regret. Dust and sparks flew in the dark. After minutes of brutal fighting, Jex vanished again into the smoke. You'll see, Riker. His voice echoed. You'll wish you left her behind. Back in the fortress, Alara sat against the wall, breathing hard. Her chain was getting looser. Her fingers, bloody, still worked at it. Each click of metal was a small victory, but her body was getting weaker. Suddenly, a thin crack opened in the ceiling. Not a sound, just a tiny beam of light. Her eyes widened. A signal. 3 short flashes. Then 2. Then 1. Her code. Human code. Riker was near. She closed her eyes and smiled. Just a little. He had come. Meanwhile, Riker made it to the lower levels of the fortress. Drax patrols walked above, unaware he was under their feet. He opened a vent panel and slid inside a narrow shaft crawling through dark heat. In his ear, static spoke. Then, a voice. Soft and broken. Riker. He froze. Alara? The voice faded. But it was real. He punched the wall gently. I'm coming. In the control room, Kraxar saw the movement on his screens. He frowned. Seal the lower levels, he ordered. One of his guards nodded. We've also detected signal leakage from the prison cell. Kraxar turned slowly. She signaled him. His eyes narrowed. Then this ends tonight. The fortress. Lights went red. Alarms blared. Guards ran to block exits, but Riker was already inside. A ghost in the wires. A shadow in the dark. His old code still worked in the system, just enough to open one door. Alara's. As the heavy door slid open, light flooded into the cell. Alara lifted her head. He stood there. Bloody. Wounded. Real. Riker, she whispered. He stepped in, looked at her broken hands. The chains. Sorry, I'm late, he said. She smiled. You always are. He lifted his gun, aimed at the chains. One shot. The metal shattered. But outside, boots marched fast. They had only minutes, and deep beneath the fortress, something ancient stirred. Not alien, not human, something forgotten, and it had just woken up. Truth in the shadows, the halls of the fortress pulsed with red light as the alarm echoed through every corridor. Danger. Breach. Human presence. But it was already too late. Captain Riker moved through the smoke-filled passage, his arm around Alara's waist. She was weak, limping but alive. Her chains had left deep wounds on her wrists. She said nothing. She didn't need to. He was here. They had only minutes to escape. But this story would not be simple. Because now, the shadows began to whisper. Beneath the fortress, below even the deepest cell blocks, was a level that no one had entered in 50 years, not even the Drax. They feared it. There was no light, only machines, long dead. And in the center, floating above a glowing altar, was a black orb. It was awake. It was listening. As Riker and Alara ran through a maintenance tunnel, Alara stopped. Suddenly, her hand touched the wall. Her breathing changed. Wait, she said. Riker turned. What is it? I feel something, she whispered. Like a voice. Calling. Alara, we need to move. They're coming. But she stepped toward a sealed door on the left. A symbol was carved into it. A human symbol. Riker recognized it. That's from Project Phoenix, he said slowly. You know it? She asked. I thought it was shut down. She looked at him. Her voice was calm, but cold. I am Project Phoenix. They entered the hidden room. Riker pulled a torch from his belt and lit it. The walls were lined with data cores, long forgotten. Stasis pods. Broken tanks filled with dry ash. And at the center, an old human console still flickering faintly. Alara stepped forward and placed her hand on it. It lit up. Access granted, the voice said. Riker stared at her. What the hell is going on? Alara touched her chest. They said I was born on Aura 7, but I wasn't. I was made here. She opened a drawer. Inside was a thin silver file. She handed it to Riker. He opened it. His face changed. Inside were pictures of her as a child, of scientists, of her parents, and documents stamped with red, weapon class, human hybrid, neural override protocol active. Riker looked up. You're not just a rebel. You were built to destroy them. She nodded. They thought I could end the war, but the others, they didn't survive the trials. How many were there? 9. I was number 10. Riker sat down, speechless. Everything he thought he knew about her was a lie, or maybe this was the truth all along. Above them, Lord Kraxar stood before a hologram table. He watched the map flicker. They've entered the lab, his general said. Kraxar clenched his fist. Seal them in, but do not kill them. Why not? Because, Kraxar said, she is the key. She is the gate. Deep underground, the black orb began to pulse faster. Its voice spoke only inside Alara's mind. Wake up. We remember you. We remember your pain. She dropped to her knees. Riker ran to her. What's happening? Her eyes glowed faintly. It's inside me, she said. What is? Something old. something we locked away. Suddenly, the room shook. The walls cracked. From the far side of the lab, an old vault door exploded outward, and from it came the creature. Tall, thin, no eyes, no mouth, made of wires, bones, and something worse. Ilara backed away. Riker fired at it. Useless. The creature didn't attack. It walked toward her and knelt. "What is it doing?" Riker whispered. "It's waiting." Flashbacks filled her mind. Scientists in white suits, machines scanning her brain. Pain. They trained her not just to fight, but to control. To be a lock for something terrible, a weapon buried in human DNA. Now the weapon was waking up, and it had chosen her. The lights died. Emergency systems kicked in. The creature vanished in the dark. Ilara stood slowly, her voice steady now. "Riker," she said. "There's something I need to tell you." He turned to her. She looked into his eyes. "If we don't stop this, I'll become worse than Kraxar." He stepped forward. "Then we stop it." Together, but the computer beeped. Life form signature identified. Unknown entity approaching. "What now?" Riker muttered. Then the side wall melted. Not broke. Melted. And through it walked Jex. His face was still hidden behind the mask. But this time, he was holding something, a remote. "You've seen too much," he said. "Jex, don't do this," Riker shouted. "I have to," Jex replied. "You don't understand what she is." "I understand enough. She's human." Jex clicked the remote. The lab doors sealed. "She's not just human," he said. "She's the end of everything." And then he pressed a second button, the SO. Orb screamed. The fortress shook. Outside, storm clouds gathered. The planet itself seemed to scream. Inside the lab, Ilara collapsed, and her eyes began to burn white. Breaking chains, the fortress of Drax Prime trembled. From deep below, a silent scream rippled through metal and stone. Lights flickered, machines stuttered. For the first time in decades, the power core, fused with alien and human tech, hiccuped like a dying heart. Something ancient had been disturbed, something that should have stayed buried, and at the center of it all was her. Ilara lay on the cold lab floor, her breath shallow, her eyes glowing white like twin moons. Energy hummed through her skin, cracking the floor beneath her. Symbols from a forgotten language burned across her arms. Riker held her shoulders, trying to shake her awake. "Ilara, stay with me." But her mind was no longer fully here. Inside her, memories were not just returning. They were rewriting her. Visions. Lab bathed in red light. Scientists shouting, syringes, tubes, pain. A voice. "She's adapting. She's the only one who survived Phase 4. Another voice. "You're building a god." And then silence. Back in the real world, Riker turned as the door burst open. Jex stepped inside, blaster drawn. His mask was cracked. His eyes bloodshot. Rage and regret twisted in every step. "Move away from her, Riker," he said. "Not a chance. You don't know what she is. She's Ilara. That's enough for me." Jex's hand trembled. "No, it's not. She's a biological key. Her body holds a code that can wake the ancient weapon beneath this fortress. If she loses control, that thing will burn every mind on this planet, including ours. Then, why keep her alive? Because Kraxar doesn't want to win the war," Jex said. "He wants to end it, erase the resistance and his own kind. And he needs her to do it." On the main screen, a countdown began. Public execution in 30 minutes. Location. City Square, Drax Prime, target. Human rebel prisoner. Subject 10. Ilara gasped and sat up. Her glow faded slightly. Her voice was distant. "I saw them," she whispered. "I saw what they put in me. They didn't build a weapon. They built a doorway." "Doorway to what?" Riker asked. She looked at him with wide, haunted eyes. "To something that doesn't belong in this universe." Jex stepped closer. "Help me destroy the orb," he said. "We can stop it. together, but Riker aimed his gun at him. After everything, I don't trust you. You don't have to trust me, Jex said. Just trust the science. If we let that thing out, there's no war. There's no future. There's only it. Ilara stood, shakily. He's right, she said softly. But we can't destroy it from here. It's linked to the execution chamber. They built it that way. My death will complete the activation. Riker's voice broke. What are you saying? They're going to kill me, she said. And when they do, they'll unlock something that can't be locked again. A long silence. Then Riker whispered, Then we don't let you die. Above them, in the highest tower, Kraxar watched. The crowd gather in the square. Hundreds of aliens, prisoners, slaves, all forced to watch. This was not just punishment. It was a message. Bring her, Kraxar ordered. Back in the lab, Riker and Ilara moved fast. Jex led them through a forgotten maintenance shaft, one only he remembered. They emerged into the catacombs beneath the execution square. From the tunnels, Riker could hear the crowd roar. Time was almost up. Once she steps into that platform, Jex said, the orb will finish sinking. It'll send a signal across all neural-linked beings, human or alien. It won't kill them. Riker frowned. What then? It'll overwrite them. Ilara pulled Riker aside. Listen, she said. If something happens up there, if I start to change, I need you to stop me. Don't ask me to do that. Promise me. He looked at her, eyes full of pain, full of history. I promise. 10 minutes later, Ilara stood on the execution platform, wrists bound again, surrounded by armed Drax. Kraxar raised his voice. This human fought against peace. Her death will bring unity. The crowd was silent. Then, from the edge, a figure in a hood fired a single shot. A guard fell. Chaos. Jex pulled his hood down. Go! Riker charged forward, guns blazing. Explosions rocked the square. Kraxar shouted, Do it now! Kill her! But it was too late. Riker reached Ilara and shot the control panel. Her bonds opened. She grabbed the weapon from a fallen guard. But then, the orb's pulse reached her. Everything around her froze. The air turned electric. The crowd's screams slowed, and inside her head, she heard the voice. You are the vessel. You are the path. You are not alone anymore. Her eyes glowed white. Kraxar stepped back. No, he said. Not now. Ilara floated into the air. Energy ripped from the orb beneath the ground. Light exploded across the sky. Jex shouted, It's too late. She's sinking. Riker ran toward her. Ilara! Fight it! She screamed. And in that moment, every Drax dropped to their knees. Some went blind. Some forgot their own names. New signal was born, not from technology, from her. Then everything went black. Silence. And then, a new voice spoke from the dark. Subject 10. Complete. Beginning Phase 2. Riker woke up in ash and ruin. Ilara was gone. Kraxar's body lay broken. The sky was torn open and a black star had appeared above the planet. Watching. Waiting. The monster's reign. The sky above Drax Prime had split open. It wasn't just a storm. It wasn't just power. It was a warning. And something had answered it. The black star hung above the fortress like an eye without a face. Silent. Steady. Ancient. It wasn't made of gas or fire. It was made of memory. It pulsed like a heartbeat. No telescope could read it. No system could map it. But everyone who saw it felt it. A weight in their chest. A whisper in their ear. A shadow at the edge of their mind. Captain Riker crawled out from under the rubble of the destroyed square, coughing through the smoke. Ash rained like snow. Half the city was gone, melted like candle wax. Broken metal, twisted bodies. Silence. His hands were bleeding. His eyes burned. But all he could think was, where is she? A few feet away, Jex leaned against a cracked pillar holding his ribs. She's not here, he said. They took her. Riker looked at him. Who's they? Jex stared at the sky. Not the Drax, not Kraxar, something older. He pulled a small device from his belt, a memory log. He handed it to Riker. Play it. You need to see what happened when you blacked out. Riker loaded it onto his portable screen. The footage showed the moment Alara's body lifted into the air, glowing, screaming. But then, something even more terrifying. Her voice changed. It layered over itself like thousands of versions of her speaking at once. I remember all of them. Her eyes turned black, not empty, but infinite. Then, figures appeared around her, floating, humanoid shadows without form. They bowed. Riker shut the screen off. She's becoming the weapon, he said. Jex shook his head. No, she's becoming the commander of the weapon. Meanwhile, deep below what remained of the fortress in a chamber untouched for centuries, Alara stood in silence. Her hands were no longer bound. Her wounds had closed, but she wasn't healed. She was transforming. Around her, black machines slowly came to life. Machines older than the war, older than humans, older than the Drax. A voice echoed in the darkness. Not loud, not angry, just patient. Do you remember us, Alara? She looked around. I don't know who you are. You named us once, before you were broken. I don't understand. You will. Soon. And then she saw them. 9 other stasis chambers, each one filled with a figure like her, but failed. Incomplete. Twisted. Subject 1 through 9. They had never made it to the end. But she had. She was subject 10. The only one who survived. Above, Riker and Jex were moving through the remains of the fortress. Jex walked slower now, limping. You think she can come back from this? Riker asked. I don't know, Jex said, but I know she's the only one who can stop what's coming. What's coming? Jex looked at him. The thing the Drax were trying to awaken wasn't for war. It was for cleansing, a reset of all life with neural capacity. So, a mind wipe. No, Jex said. A mind merge. Total unity. No freedom. No thought. One voice. One will. And she's the core of it, Riker said. Jex nodded. The monster isn't Kraxar. Not anymore. The monster is the idea she's becoming part of. Suddenly, the hallway lights dimmed. A hum vibrated the walls. Riker looked around. What now? From the shadows, a massive figure emerged. Not a Drax. Something worse. It was Kraxar. But not as he was. His body had been rebuilt, merged with ancient tech. His eyes were gone, replaced with glowing black spheres. His voice echoed like broken glass. Thank you, he said to them. For what? Riker asked. For unlocking her. He raised his hand, and the floor exploded. Riker woke in a dark cell. Old metal. No light. But he wasn't alone. Alara stood in the corner, arms crossed, face calm. You're awake, she said. Where are we? Inside the system. What? System? Not Drax, not human. The original one. You mean, the thing inside you? She looked at him softly. It's not inside me anymore. I am inside it. Outside, the black star pulsed again. A signal raced through the galaxy. Ships stopped moving. Pilots froze in place. Resistance soldiers dropped their weapons, confused. Every mind that had ever been connected to the digital grid paused and listened. Back, in the cell, Riker stood. Why me? He asked. Why show me this? Alara stepped closer. Because you're the only one who still sees me, not the weapon, not the god, just me. Then come back. Fight it. She smiled sadly. You don't fight something this old. You just choose what to let it become. And what will you become? Her voice was almost a whisper. I don't know yet. Then she leaned in. But I need you to do something. Anything. If I lose myself, fully, don't stop the signal. Riker stared. Why? Because what's coming is worse than losing me. What's coming? And then the wall cracked. The black star sent another pulse, and somewhere far away on a forgotten moon, another subject opened her eyes. Not 10. 11. The final shot. The stars blinked out, one by one. Not from distance, not from night, but from something else. As the black star pulsed across the system, satellites dropped. Warships froze mid-flight. Soldiers from all species, Drax, human, synth, suddenly stood still, eyes glazed. The universe held its breath. One voice had entered their minds, and it wore a face once called Ilara. Deep inside the memory core of the ancient system, Riker stood alone. Walls of light moved like water. Data streams rushed overhead. Memories, real and artificial, flickered like ghosts. He wasn't in a room. He was inside her mind, what was left of it. He called her name. No answer. Only the echo of a million voices speaking at once. We remember you, Riker. You were her anchor, her weakness, her delay. He clenched his fists. I'm not here for you. I'm here for her. A soft wind moved through the chamber. Impossible, yet real. From the light, she stepped forward. Ilara, or something like her. She wore the same face, the same eyes. But now, when she blinked, the world behind her flickered. You came back, she said. I always will. Even if I'm not me anymore. He stepped closer. You're still in there. I know it. Her face twitched. Pain, maybe. Or conflict. Do you know what I feel when the signal flows through me? She asked. Peace, unity, silence. No more war, no more hate. Just one mind, one order. But no choice, Riker said. She looked at him. And for a moment, just one, she was her again. Then help me stop it, she whispered. Meanwhile, Jek stood on the broken tower above Drax Prime, aiming a long-range rifle at the Black Star. Beside him a bomb, human-engineered anti-quantum tech, one use only. If I time this shot, he said to himself, I can end the pulse. I can shut down the link. He calibrated the scope. Wind speed, rotation, pulse rhythm. He had one chance. One shot. Inside the core, Ilara led Riker deeper into the system. They passed rows of glowing symbols, each one a locked memory. She touched. One, it opened. He saw her. Young, scared, alone in a tank. Scientists watching her like an animal. They didn't raise her. They programmed her. They built me to save us, she said. But not with freedom, with control. She turned to him. But you gave me freedom. Every time you let me choose. He swallowed hard. Then choose now. She reached for the central node, a glowing heart beating in midair. If I touch this, she said, I can end the signal. Then do it, she paused. But it will kill me. Above, Jex had locked in the target, his finger on the trigger. Forgive me, old friend, he whispered. Back inside, Ilara looked at Riker. If I do this, she said, you have to promise me something. Anything. Don't let them build another me. He nodded, tears in his eyes. You're not a weapon, he said. You're the reason we're still fighting. She smiled, then placed her hand on the node. But outside, at the same time, Jex fired. The bullet, encoded with a quantum disruptor, tore through space. It struck the Black Star. For a split second, the entire system froze. A scream, metal and memory, echoed across the galaxy. Riker was thrown back. Ilara's body glowed brighter than ever before. And then, she collapsed. The star shattered. The voice went silent. Time returned. Across planets, minds were freed, warships rebooted. The Drax fell into chaos. Humans looked up and saw the Black Star fade like dust. The universe had survived, but not without loss. On the ground, Riker held Ilara's body in his arms. She was still, no breath, no glow, just gone. Jex landed nearby, silent, respectful. She did it, Riker whispered. Jex nodded. She saved us all. But somewhere, on a cold moon. Subject 11 watched the sky change and smiled. A new dawn. The black star was gone. The sky above Drax Prime had cleared. No more pulses. No more whispers. For the first time in decades, the universe was quiet. Too quiet. Riker stood alone on the edge of a cliff, staring at the sunrise. Not many had seen one here. Drax Prime was not known for beauty. It was known for chains, blood, and silence. But today, light spilled over the ruined towers, soft and golden, like the world was trying to remember what peace felt like. He still held Ilara's metal pendant in his hand. It was the only thing that hadn't burned. Below the cliff, resistance forces had begun to gather, freed slaves, rogue soldiers, old rebels once thought dead. Some cheered, some cried. All of them knew one truth now. The monster's reign had ended. But at what cost? Jex approached from behind, his limp more visible now. His coat was torn, one eye was burned shut, but he was still walking. The systems are clean, he said. The neural web is gone. Control signals are dead. It's over. Riker didn't answer. You should say something to them, Jex added. Riker finally looked at him. What do you say when the one who saved the galaxy didn't live to see it? You tell the truth, Jex said. That we let her die? No, Jex said. That she chose to save us anyway. Later, in the broken courtyard of the fortress, Riker stood before a crowd of thousands. No speech written, no plan, just truth. This war wasn't ended by an army, he began. It was ended by a girl they tried to use as a weapon, a girl who chose to be more than a tool, more than a symbol. She chose to be human. He looked up at the sky. Ilara didn't die for us. She lived for us. Every day she fought their voice, she kept us free. And when the time came, she gave us more than freedom. He held up her pendant. She gave us a second chance. The crowd didn't cheer. They stood in silence, a respectful silence, because some victories don't come with parades, some come with scars. But the story wasn't over. Not yet. Somewhere far from Drax Prime, on a dark, frozen moon circling a black gas giant, a deep silent facility came online. Lights flickered on. Air hissed into long-dead chambers. Machines woke with slow, hungry clicks. In a sealed vault labeled Subject 11, a pod opened. A young woman stepped out. She looked just like Ilara, but colder. Her eyes scanned the room. No panic, no confusion. A voice greeted her. Welcome back, Nova. She tilted her head. Status? Subject 10 has completed signal disruption. Target field neutralized. Your activation is now unrestricted. Nova stepped forward, bare feet on frozen steel. What is my mission? Observe, rebuild, and if necessary, override. Nova looked up at the ceiling. A star map unfolded. In her vision, her eyes pulsed white. Begin Phase 2, she said. Meanwhile, back on Drax Prime, Riker sat alone at the edge of the ruined lab where it all began. Jex had gone to command the cleanup. Others were rebuilding, but Riker stayed. He looked at the core node where Ilara had fallen. He placed her pendant there, then turned to leave. But just as he walked away, the node pulsed once, softly, quietly, like a heartbeat. He froze, turned back. On the screen, 3 words appeared. I'm still here. His breath caught. Ilara, he whispered. No reply, but the words remained. Then something stranger happened. Above the lab, in the sky where the black star had vanished, a new light appeared. Not black, not dark. A warm, soft glow. Not threatening, not cold. Just waiting. Somewhere, between death and code, between memory and machine, She was not gone. Not fully. Not yet. The universe had a new dawn, but dawn always casts long shadows, and in those shadows, something else now moved. Something born of war, forged in memory, and hidden inside the girl who was never meant to live, but changed everything. The end, for now,